Okay, here we go. Welcome back to Final Fantasy IV, and we have a new party member. She is a caller who we have raised from first level because she starts with no spells at all. And joining the commentator party is Regdren, my brother, who really pushed us to get this game when we actually played on the original hardware.
Well, you don't regret it, do you?
Why would I?
It didn't take many encounters to get her to level 4, did it?
It took 2. Well, she's 7 years old. She's entitled to start at level 1.
She's the only character in this game who starts at level 1.
So anyway, the townspeople say, first off, back row advice, which I've already done, and that someone fell down on the way in.
Quote-unquote fell down.
Kept from falling down. Yeah, we might know a Cecil.
But do we truly know ourselves at this point in the game?
Well, that's later.
Also, I find it refreshing that in this game, the main character burns down someone else's hometown.
Look, you're a knight. You're pretty much physically evil at this point in the game.
Yes, we will talk more about that later. You have to leave her, don't you?
Absolutely, but you have to talk to her.
Otherwise?
Otherwise, Tella will not let you pass.
Really?
Yep.
Well, he's definitely powerful enough to stop you.
Oh yeah, we just shoved an NPC out of the way, something else I like.
Yeah, that's a new thing to this game, isn't it?
Yeah, still not as great as Mystic Quest where you could just jump over NPCs.
Yeah, I miss jumping in games like this.
Well, you could always play Ys.
Not every Ys, though.
The Cave Antlion. English, how does it work?
I have no idea. I mean, I grew up with English and I still don't know how it works.
That's a common situation.
Well...
So it's off to the dungeon, which will be most of this video.
Yes, that... I think it's fair to say that it's your first real dungeon.
Yep. Mist Cave, nothing. Okay, now, Rydia has other means of attacking than spells, as we will be demonstrating here, because rods often do things when used as items.
When I first used the rod as an item, I felt like I discovered the hidden mysteries of the game.
Well, this playthrough is going to explore some of the deep secrets of this game.
You mean like selling that portable hoe?
That is only the first of many. Ah, good, Bolt 1.
Yeah, that's going to be very useful in this next video, assuming that, of course, you don't just have Tella do it.
Well, we're gonna see what Tella is up to. As usual, I've edited out most of the random encounters.
Which seems like a good idea considering you seem to be getting them every 2 steps or so.
Yeah, the game does not care how often it throws random encounters at you. It just checks a die roll.
Now this first part, when you just first start walking around in the water cave, that always scared me a lot because the encounters here are designed for you to have Tella in your party, and if you don't, there's a good chance that you will need to run away.
Yep. By the way, a small thing about how this game does weaknesses. The game tells you that water-dwelling creatures are weak to lightning, but amphibians and reptiles do not count.
They do not count. You need to use ice on them.
Yep.
You are going to have trouble against the alligators if you don't know that.
Yep.
Now, of course, this encounter is not runaway worthy, but if you encounter a pack of zombies, hold L and R.
In fact, I do that most of the time I encounter zombies anyway, because they actually have some magic defense.
Yeah.
Another tent?
Is the game's gentle way of telling you that your main character cannot handle zombies right now.
Help me, champion of evil. My daughter ran away.
Did anyone actually tell Cecil about Tella, though?
Not in this version.
Well,
I guess Tella would be famous. He's been around for a while and used to be an incredible wizard.
Oh, Tella is actually not joking. He definitely cannot handle the boss on his own.
Yes.
Which seems weird when you deal with the first encounters effortlessly with him, but you'll learn more as you go.
Yep. So now he is in the party.
Now you have a temporary overpowered party member.
Okay, he is not a physical fighter ever.
No, never. Also, his hit points are really low for his level.
Let's see. So, there's some money dollars. Now, soon enough the game will furnish us an encounter. I'm sure of that, at least.
Yeah, the game is usually not shy about that.
It can be really weird. Okay, for Tella's first trick, he is going to make this encounter disappear. Because these monsters have a substantial amount of hit points that you can't cut through with Cecil's sword, but...
Fun fact, I did not know that you could multi-target things the first time I played through.
Yep, Nintendo Power was kind of, it was kind of mum's the word about that little feature.
And we didn't get the manual with this game.
No, we bought it used from Funkoland back when that was still an actual thing.
It was the most amazing store of my youth. And I would not have been able to get this game otherwise.
Because we were a little bit late to the SNES RPG thing.
The game still cost us $60, didn't it?
No, it cost us $20 because we got it used.
Really? Okay, never mind. I was thinking, was it the original cost might have been $70? I don't remember.
Somewhere around there.
Anyway, $20 for this, especially back then, amazing deal.
No, it was Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana. All of those we bought new.
The role-playing game hobby was an expensive one.
Well, it wasn't our money. We were young enough for that. Okay, these are zombies, and here is the problem with zombies.
The parry command is not nearly as cool as it sounds.
That's another problem with zombies. Cecil's sword actually has an element. It is the dark element.
And as typical for games like this, it is useless against a lot of different things.
It is mainly useless against zombies.
Although the game outright tells you story-wise that it will also be useless against anything that is story important later as well. On the other hand, it is strong against a lot of living things, which is one of the reasons Tella wants you to go with as their meat and metal shield.
He's just an old man.
Say what you will about that horrible, evil-looking armor that, according to the artwork, seems to be buried in his skin, perhaps?
Yeah, one of the things that they did with in the run-up to the DS version was expand on a lot of this stuff, and Cecil's armor is kinda riveted to him.
Yeah, I believe you described it as being Space Marine style.
Yep. Okay, this is our first in-dungeon save point. In the original Japanese versions and all later releases, save points were kind of a stone circle, but in this release they're a big S stamped on the floor.
And considering how new the US audience is to that sort of thing, I think it may have been a wise decision.
Yeah, Final Fantasy I did not have in-dungeon save points.
Oh, yeah. I recall trying out NES Final Fantasy I. I didn't do that for very long.
You did not try it for very long. Oh yes, Tella says that Rydia will be a gifted wizard.
He's not joking.
Mm-hmm. Musicians, the same in every era.
Except this one doesn't really have a rock star personality.
No, he does not. A huge monster with numerous tentacles. That almost sounds like your department.
Oh, I see what you did there. I was kind of surprised that nothing in XCOM was really like that.
Oh.
Although tentacles are bad for holding weapons.
Okay, we've refreshed our Estus, and it's time to move on.
Well... It would be really handy to have a reusable healing item in this game.
Well, don't worry, the game kind of throws them at you, especially in this version. Because what they did was they not only replaced all of the miscellaneous single-issue status items with heal, they also replaced some of them with ethers.
Ooh, yeah. And yet, I was extremely reluctant to use any of them because of the too awesome to use syndrome.
Yeah, so if you do that sort of thing, you go get to the sealed cave and end up with like 30 of them.
Oh well. So, when you first played through the game, tell me about how well you handled things like this.
What, ethers?
Well...
Oh, jellies!
Oh, yes, that.
So, these guys have a physical defense of about 254.
Not 255?
Yeah, and keep in mind this is a game where monster physical defense tends to top out at around 4 or 5.
Your defense is somewhere in the middle. Which is handy when one of your guys gets brainwashed, because it means you don't get instant killed.
Exactly. This is not Final Fantasy II.
Let us be thankful for that.
Well, it's even worse in Final Fantasy II because the confused characters will only attack allies. So we blew up some more fish.
Dynamite fishing. Or its possible successor, lightning fishing.
Hey, don't mention dynamite. There aren't any attack items in this game.
Well, there is the one rare one.
Oh.
You might get
one of them.
In an entire playthrough, yes.
Okay, here's a difference from the other versions. Secret passages in dungeons are highlighted.
Which is a good thing since some of them are required to get through dungeons.
Yeah. All of them are all of the secret paths are highlighted except one. But that's near the end of the game and I'll talk about it when we get there.
Yeah. That was, what, 3 steps?
Yep. Forget it. One of the disadvantages of being able to run is that you drop coin. Sometimes.
Oh man, how can you afford that?
I don't know, man. Some moths are getting to fly out of my money sack. I really haven't spent any of that ill-gotten cash yet. But I was only going to use it to buy armors that I'd otherwise have to grind for.
Well, you might buy some ethers or elixirs later.
Maybe. I might even forget that I have this much money.
Really? It's staring you in the face whenever you open your menu. Also, you were proud of doing that in the first video. Don't lie to me.
Well, it was just something that most people won't see during a normal playthrough.
I suppose not.
These are an always run encounter because that's an actually dangerous fight.
Yeah, and it's not particularly rewarding if you win.
Tiny mages can cast Mini, which reduces your defense to basically nothing. It reduces your defense to monster defense.
And it is not all that easy to get rid of.
Okay, the Darkness Sword, and now we can unequip our 2 Shadow Swords.
So, what? You had a sword in one hand, a shield in your third, and the extra sword in your teeth?
Zorro-style swordsmanship.
The game outright tells you to camp here. I appreciate that.
I'm pretty sure it does it in both versions.
Nothing that a 5-second rest won't cure.
Man, you were only up there for 5 seconds? Here's your money back.
We already did that game, though. Well, I kind of appreciate that Cecil was carried down to the edge of the waterfall, because I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to jump at, like, something like that.
And it's not like he can swim either. No, you don't get to have an encounter.
Yeah, this is early enough in the Final Fantasy series that it helps to remember your run command.
This is true.
In later Final Fantasy games, it's like some sort of secret magic spell.
And in earlier Final Fantasy games, in Final Fantasy II, it was actually kind of pointless to try to run from random encounters because of how hard it was to raise speed. And there wasn't even a... Oh, I decided to show this off because, well, it's the first time this happened in the entire playthrough. Back attacks are the nastiest thing that can happen in a Final Fantasy game. Because not only do you take forever to run...
your rows are reversed. Also, it is impossible to inflict back attacks on the enemy.
By the way, I will be using Cure 1 out of combat for the entire game.
Yes, I did this myself in my first playthrough. I didn't consciously understand it, I just knew that casting Cure 1 in party mode was the best.
Well, that's because the game calculates healing amounts differently out of combat than in combat. So in combat, Cure 3 is the most efficient use of MP, and out of combat, Cure 1 is.
I wonder if that also goes for potions.
No, it does not.
Okay, then.
Okay,
Octomam?
I don't think they could fit Octomammoth.
Yeah. Also, why is Tella in the front row?
He has high hit points. Okay, the reason Cecil hits this boss like a truck is that Octomammoth is actually weak to dark attacks.
Yep. There are a few monsters you'll encounter every now and then that are weak to it, and also notice that Tella's lightning spell is not that effective.
Uh-huh.
So, unlike magic defense, which is almost never high... unlike physical defense, which is almost never high, you do sometimes run into magic defense.
Absolutely.
Also, is it okay if I call Cecil Mr. Fight Command?
Go for it. He's Mr. Fight Command even in the original version.
Basically, anytime you're in battle, when Cecil is selected, you don't have to think too hard about what to do with him.
And this basically holds true for the entire game. Yeah, so Rydia's most powerful move is still Chocobo Kick.
Mm-hmm. And it's gonna stay that way for a while.
Indeed. Octomammoth is probably the most white bread boss in the entire game.
Also, he bucks the usual trend for these games by actually getting weaker when he's damaged.
Yep, because this game still works on the number of attacks roll.
Although in the remake, he actually does get stronger when wounded.
Well, that's completely nonsensical.
I don't know how to explain it either.
Well, there are actually a few bosses in this game whose special attacks are weakened as they take damage.
Yeah, what happened, Squaresoft? I guess they were still learning the business.
Well, this game was made after 1990, where people actually figured out how to make gameplay for RPGs.
I've never met anyone who had trouble with this boss.
There's no reason at all to have trouble with him. Okay. Well, now, god damn it.
By the way, back in the town burning down thing, I was still in the Dragon Warrior mindset. Oh, hold on.
Man, normally they wait until after we get there.
Yeah, if they waited something like 10 seconds, they could have ended the game right there.
Well, anyway, the first thing we're going to be doing in here is plundering the castle treasury, so what were you saying?
Yes, well, this is a good time for it. I was still in the Dragon Warrior mindset, so for example, when Radia attacked me, I of course spammed the fight command and the jump command on her.
You monster!
I wasn't even thinking about what was really going on.
Okay. This is stuff that will be important, but not now. And the Rubery ring is something I'm going to be holding on to for a while.
Yeah. One of the things that gave me trouble is that the symbols when you equip things were not explained, so I didn't know what the orb was, for example. In fact, I'm still not entirely sure. Is it magic defense?
Yes, it is.
Okay, then. Well, it's not like anyone else is gonna use that stuff now.
Uh-huh.
And that's an old trick, wandering around the outside of a castle or town barrier.
Yeah, I think this may not be the first time we use... last time we used that in this game, but I don't quite remember. Well, they got the crystal.
This did not take long at all.
Look, they just popped the top of the castle, sent down a winch, and wrenched the crystal out.
And... Jeez. That was... What kind of room was that below? Whatever.
I don't know. It was the box room.
You did this to her? Really?
Well, here we go.
Here we go. Remember how we said Tella is not made for physical?
Yep. Hold on, I think this is it. You spoony bard!
And he used that phrase correctly.
It's the kind of word a really old man would use, and he used it correctly. Tella will always do 4 attacks here.
And miss with most of them.
No, he still has a 50% chance with each. And the bard shuts up. Well...
You know, she's pretty eloquent for being in a state like that.
Uh-huh. When we were about to leave the castle, the bomb dropped.
Now, this guy must have stepped in just a few seconds ago if Cecil doesn't know who he is.
Uh-huh. Just showed up out of nowhere.
And took command of the Red Wings.
Why did they even need arrows?
This would be a lot more tragic if we had time to get invested in any of these people.
Well, I don't think the cartridge size was large enough for that. Beats me.
Okay, first of all, rumors must travel at lightning speed.
So, Atella is going to go off to fight Golbez. And we will be seeing somewhat soon exactly how much of a fool's errand that is to try to do alone.
Yeah, just 5 minutes ago, Tella couldn't deal with a pretty lame octopus boss.
Uh-huh.
I mean, granted, old dog's new tricks, but you'd still think he'd learn a bit more easily than that.
Well,
he's supposed to be really smart.
Hold on. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, that's a bit much to come from a 7-year-old.
Yes, however, on one hand, don't cry over the person you loved who just died.
Uh-huh.
On the other hand, if there's anyone who has it worse than Edward does...
Yes, Edward was originally named Gilbert in the Japanese version, which is why the bard in Adventurers was called Guildward.
Mm-hmm.
And Cecil does the usual get a hold of yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Airplane. We really need your help, though.
Look, he's a bard, and bards are great. At least they were in Final Fantasy III.
It would be awesome if this was a Final Fantasy III bard. He would have no reason to be afraid of anything.
Mm-hmm.
Although, saying that Edward in his current incarnation is vital to the party is a bit of a stretch.
Well, we'll be going over that later. Yeah, the thing is, they say that only the royal family can enter the cave.
There's nothing stopping you from going in when Edward isn't in your party.
Yeah, this is not Final Fantasy II.
That's probably the main reason. It isn't some royal crest or anything, it's the hovercraft.
It's the hovercraft. Prince Edward joined as a bard instead of a prince.
That's too bad. Prince classes are usually pretty strong. Except perhaps Prince Roy. Also, I was a bit surprised when we got a hovercraft in this game, considering that, as I said, I just played Dragon Warrior.
It was in the Nintendo Power issue.
Well, I didn't look at that too closely.
Well, we'll be dealing with antlions next time, so that's the end of this video. See you when we go digging. Bye!
Later.